Be it comedy, be it sneakers, be it music, I mean, whatever, pretty much anything dope you seem to be involved in, sir. So, with that being said, Angelo Gingerelli.
Up next, we have a very funny guy.
Oh!
Yeah.
This dude has been a staple in the Asbury scene. Dude is responsible for like almost every Asbury comic here.
That's right.
Shout out to Jovi beating Angelo for that in Asbury.
Angelo Gingerelli, local legend, hip-hop fiend, sneakerhead.
Angelo Gingerelli, shout out, father of Long Branch Comedy. Shout out to
I'm here on behalf of Angelo Gingerelli. He's a legend, a local legend of the local comedy scene.
Hey man, he's a real MVP.
He's just a really funny, great guy who's done a lot for the comedy community. So everybody give it up for this funny guy, Angelo Gingerelli!
First comedian coming up, he is a legend of the Jersey Shore. He is arguably the best comedian in all of Tom's River. Give it up for Angelo Gingerelli.
Give me a couple quick thoughts on what's going on at the Jersey Shore right now.
Oh, well, you're the pillar of that. If I was a comic, right, in New Jersey right now, I'd try to do everything Angelo's doing.
Now, our headliner has been around the Jersey Shore comedy scene for a very long time. He's one of the originators. He's been on every podcast, performed at every venue, and done more shows than almost everybody in this area. I think it's fair to say that. He's also written a book about creating a comedy scene. He's one half of Ugly Pancake Productions, and he's produced shows with some of the funniest up-and comics in the area. He's a local legend and a big figure in the local comedy scene. Please give it up for my pal, Angelo Gingerelli.
What's up, suck in the middle? Hey, as a group, how many times have you heard Joe Borzai introduce me? Dozens, hundreds. Yeah, I know he's never said I'm funny. Not one time. He's always like, Angelo does a lot of things that funny people do. He himself, not that funny. I'm the New Jersey comedy version of DJ Khaled. Like, I'm at a lot of cool things with cool people, but nobody quite understands why. I feel like my biggest credit is people telling me, people seem to like what you do, but I don't really get it. We're wrapping up 2022. It was a good year, it was a tough year. Any December birthdays in here? Anybody have a birthday any year on the holidays? When's your birthday?
28.
Okay, cool. Who still having good birthdays? Like, birthdays when you're a kid are just phenomenal, right? You're getting Nintendos, you're getting new school shoes. Like, it's so much fun. Go to Chuck E. Cheese, is great, right? Teenage birthdays, house parties, basement parties, barbecues, kind of cool, right? 20 birthdays, fire, right? Bar crawls, all you can drink, blast, right? Anybody fit in their 30s and 40s having birthdays? Not great. You know what I did for my last birthday? Jersey Mike's. I'm in the Jersey Mike's email club, free sub on my birthday. My birthday's on a Thursday. I decided what sub I wanted on Tuesday. And I was that excited about it. Number 7, Mike's Way, of course. And it was a good birthday. I thought that was a solid birthday for me. Got a free sub. And I'm so laced into the Jersey Mike's email community. 3/4 of the calories I consume coincide with double points Tuesdays. And then every once in a while you get that great email, you get unexpected free sub, buy one, get one free, right? So every time that happens, I do the same thing. 1, number 7, Mike's Way, lettuce, tomato, oil, vinegar, seasoning, right? Now you get 1 number 7, just turkey and cheese. And here's the move. I order like that, and I said to the kid working, you know what I'm doing here, man? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I'm gonna eat the number 7 with the works now. I'm gonna save the plain one for tomorrow so the bread doesn't get soggy. And then I said, do a lot of people do that on BOGO Tuesdays? And the kid looks at me and said, not a lot of white guys from two-parent homes. I have a 7-year-old daughter and she's really smart. She knows, like on Tuesdays, we're going to Jersey Mike's. We're getting the double points. She just knows it all the time. So last Tuesday we were in there and I was like, hey, June, if my sub is 8 points and it's double points, and your sub is 4 points and it's double points, how many points do we get on the short points account today? And she goes, 24. Well, that's a rock star answer. That's a perfectly correct answer for a 7-year-old. And then she said, Dad, I have a question for you. I'm like, all right, let's go, fire away. She said, if a guy with a master's degree and a full-time job and multiple published books and a stand-up comedy career is planning all of his meals around extra points at Jersey Mike's, how many mistakes has that man made in his life? The only thing I love more than a good Jersey Mike's song is comedy. I love doing stand-up comedies. I'm going on my 10th year. I've been a part of a lot of cool things in Jersey Shore in the last 10 years, and I could not be more grateful for what we've built here over the last decade. I really love being a part of it. And it hit me this summer why. Stand-up comedy is one of the only careers left where you could say literally anything you want and nobody bats an eye. Now, not on stage. You mess up on stage, you might get canceled, you might have to delete your Twitter account, things could happen, right? But backstage at a comedy show, literally, there are no rules, it's still the Wild West. And I'm gonna tell you when I figured this out. This past summer, I did a show with a comic on a Friday, and we did another show together on Tuesday. I didn't see this gentleman for 3 days, okay? So I see him on Tuesday, okay man, good to see you again. What have you been up to since the last show on Friday? And this is how he had spent those 3 days. He goes, on the way home from that show on Friday, I stopped at a 7-Eleven after midnight, I got a sandwich off the roller grill, and I think I got food poisoning because the next day, I lost control of my bowels at my job at the movie theater. Think for a second. Number one, if you get something off the roller grill after midnight at 7-Eleven, you're taking digestive health in your own hands. Right? You're throwing the dice. Props in for that. But why can you not get to a restroom if you work at a movie theater? You're not an EMS worker, you're not a firefighter, you're not protecting a military installation. If he deserted his post at the theater, what's the worst case scenario? Some 12-year-olds seeing a PG-13 movie? And then he goes, on Sunday, I hosted an open mic, and it wasn't good at all. But I didn't care because I was microdosing mushrooms. And then on Monday, I got high with a bunch of people I had never met before, and I think it was laced with PCP because I haven't felt right since. This kid lived more in 36 hours than I did in 36 years. And he said to a room full of people, he accidentally did angel dust like it was no big deal. And you guys find in the comedy world, a lot of people get very high, very by mistake. This doesn't happen anywhere else. I'm pretty sure if you work in a hospital or a school or a restaurant, every other day some guy's not like, I got home from work the other day, my roommate, who's just a 22-year-old dude with no background in baking whatsoever, handed me 36 brownies. I ate all 36 brownies, and I've been high for 3 days straight. Like, I'm in my 40s. I'm a happily married, pretty domesticated dude, and if I got home and my wife just handed me brownies, I'd be like, these are laced, right? Like, you're not Betty Crocker. We're not, what is happening here? How do you not think to question that? Any conspiracy theory people here? Woo! Yeah, room full of comics, not super surprising, right? I'm not. I don't think most conspiracies are real things. But the one conspiracy I will ride or die with till I leave this earth is that Cuba does not exist. I don't believe it's a real place. And I'm gonna make my case for that now, and you guys tell me when I tell a lie. There is no mention of Cuba anywhere in American history until the 1950s. It popped up out of nowhere in every history book, right? And I really believe what happened was back in the 50s, the government was like these middle-class white men. They have it too good. They're not scared of anything anymore. They live in the best country. They don't need anything. They have cars. They have salaries. They have health insurance. We got to scare these people. Let's tell them there's an island that's closer to Miami than Orlando, that's full of the only two things these people are scared of right now, which is communists and Hispanic people. And then they just kept the fear mongering for the next 50 years. In the 60s, what are we all afraid of? Nuclear weapons. Where are the nuclear weapons in this hemisphere? Cuba. Right? In the 70s, everybody had a superhero, right? White bread, white guy got Captain America. The black guy got Black Panther. The very wealthy got Batman, right? Who's Cuba's superhero? Scarface. Right? But the thing is, we've been sold Scarface as such a Cuban story, right? We've all seen the movie. He comes to America, he sells a ton of drugs, gets incredibly wealthy, alienates everyone around him, and dies in a mountain of cocaine. That's the most American story there is. In the 80s, we're scared of the drug cartels, right? Well, if you watch Miami Vice, where are all the drug cartels? Cuba. 90s, what are we afraid of? Gangster rap. We're terrified of gangster rappers, right? Some people think Tupac died. Some people think Tupac faked his death and is living where? Cuba. There's no way it's a real place. It does not exist. Further, every other country that came to America brings their cuisine with it, right? Like, I'm Italian, we brought pizza, pasta, gelato, stuff like that. Or wherever you come from, you bring the food with you, and that's why we have an American food tradition, but it's from everywhere we came from, right? It's a great thing. There's no Cuban food. It's fake. What is Cuban food? A Cuban sandwich? It's stale bread, pork, pickles, another kind of pork, and mustard. That is not cuisine. That is what you make when you get hammered at the club and come home and put everything you have in the refrigerator on stale bread and force yourself to eat it. Cuban food. Why don't you mofongo and stop making up this fake country? So, my wife is Cuban. I think I'm being catfished. Playing the long game. You've been married for 10 years. Being married to a Cuban person means a couple things. It means I have a lot of stories that start with we were watching Telemundo and then. It means when regular white people meet us, they don't like us, but they can't quite put their finger on why. And it means if we're in even the most minor disagreement, it's only a matter of time until a knife is coming out. Like I said, we're married 10 years, going great. We got married 10 years ago, and it was a great wedding. We had a great wedding, my Italian family, her Cuban family, all our friends, all our cousins, everybody came out. Great weekend. And all through the weekend, people came giving speeches and toasts and prayers that all hinged on the same theme. And they all sounded something like this. Thank God these two found each other. God's watching over this marriage. God brought Angelo and Angelo together. And I sat there the whole weekend like, we met in Seaside Heights. I'm pretty sure God sat that one out. And now I'm at a weird point in my life, man, because I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I love both of those roles, and I still think, at least in my head, I'm like a cool guy. I'm a cool young guy. I like young music, I dress kind of young for me, I think I know what's going on with a young kid, right? So in doing comedy, I end up in a lot of like open mics, bars, shows around younger women, right? And in my mind, at least, I like to think I'd be a catch for a young girl. And a lot of times, I think these women agree with me, and they think the way to get to me is being super cool with my daughter, right? Giving her piggyback rides, buying her Christmas presents, playing with her when I'm on stage kind of thing, backstage. And I think someone needs to explain to a young woman this. If the guy's a single dad, that's your move. That works. That's how you get to that guy, right? But if the guy's married, he doesn't need another wife. He already has one set of problems. And that kid does not need a stepmom. She's good, right? And I'm to the point now, pretty devoted husband. But I don't want I don't want another wife, but I need a side chick. But it's not what you think. It's not. There's nothing physical involved in this. I just want a woman in my life that will do things differently than my wife doesn't. You know what that's like? Like, I just want a woman that will promise she will never call me while I'm at work and ask me complicated questions about our dental insurance. Like, all right, is there a number on the car that says with questions, call this number? Yes. Is that my phone number? No. Why would you call me? Do you really think I would know off the top of my head whether or not the dentist office you drove by on your way back from Target is in network or not? Like I want a girl on the side that will meet me at a motel room in the winter, and if she uses the coffee machine, might clean it up by herself. The only really physical thing I want from the side chick is if I spend like a 12-hour day on my day job, rush home, cook dinner for everybody, clean up after dinner, change my clothes, go to a comedy show, get paid for the show, and come home and spend all of that money on things for the family, and appreciative nod. And like right now, I'm at a point where I'm willing to risk it all for a woman that will be excited about going to a local rap concert with me and listening to my friend's podcast on the way home. Like I mentioned earlier, man, I'm 100% Italian, my wife's 100% Cuban, and we have a beautiful, smart, sensitive, tough, athletic 7-year-old daughter. Okay, she's a rock star. And she knows right now from 7 years old, when she grows up, if she is speaking to a police officer, she's Italian. If she's speaking to a college admissions officer, she is Cuban. And then people, I've been involved in athletics and sports my whole life, and people keep asking me, well, when are you get involved in sports? You can play soccer, volleyball, basketball, what are you going to get her into? You got to be like, you're an athletic, right? And I'm like, I don't know, man, you guys see what I look like. My wife's the same height, same build. Body type wise, this kid's got a shot at maybe a gymnast, maybe a horse jockey, maybe a lucha libre wrestler. And it's weird, man, when you have a kid, you want to, I had good parents. I had great parents growing up. I love them to death. But you want to take what you got good from your parents, right? And then be better at what they maybe weren't so good at, right? So what I always say is, I had solid B+ parents. And they tried really hard, but I based that B+ grade on this. I'm a grown man. I'm not a drug addict. I am a stand-up comic. So things didn't go exactly according to plan for my family. But something happened last year with my dad, and I think this says everything about my relationship to the rest of my family. I wrote a book about developing a stand-up comedy scene, and he bought it. The day it dropped, he bought it. A week later, I called him up and I'm like, hey Dad, what'd you think of the book? And he said, I like the beginning and I like the end. So then I said, what did you think about the middle? To which he replied, didn't read it. Okay, with parenting, I've decided this. I said, for my daughter, I'm cool with whatever she decides to do. Okay, I'm gonna be there, support her, be the guy cheering for her whole life. And that means that when she's 18, she's playing on the all-state soccer team, looking at D1 scholarship offers. I'm on the front row cheering for that, right? You gotta be, right? But on the same token, if at 18, she's tatted up with blue hair on the stage of grinding punk rock bars, I'm on the front row for that, right? You gotta be. But I know if she's in a punk band when she's 18 and I'm there in the front row, I'm gonna overhear two guys at the other table saying, do you think those fathers should be a comedian or something? The other guy will probably say he was hot for a minute, he really fell off. And then the first guy will probably reply, yeah, I never got his appeal. For all of my life, I've been hearing in the media that America's middle class is rapidly evaporating. I was terrified of that because I was firmly middle class. I've come to the conclusion recently, I think it needs to go. I I think we need to go. Middle class people, we create nothing. Poor people, awesome, right? Hip hop, jazz, everything we love. Rich people create the platforms for us to consume those things, right? We're a middle class school, what are kids doing? They're watching people play basketball on YouTube on their iPhones. They're creating nothing, they're just consumers, right? But here's the funny thing about middle class. Everybody thinks they're middle class, right? If you go to projects and people on the second floor, they're like, well, we're not as bad as the first floor. But we're not even as people in our houses, right? On the same token, go on a 90-foot yacht, and that guy's like, it's only a 90-footer. There's people way richer than me. I'm in the middle class. So if you go through that thought process, if middle class people are horrible, and everybody thinks they're middle class, are we all horrible? And I think one thing that exposed itself in the last couple of years, to me, COVID was a middle class disease. Because think about back in 2020, if you drove through the hood, if you drove through a trailer park, they didn't care. If your lifespan is 27 and everyone got shot in bodega, do you really care about a respiratory infection that kills morbidly obese old people? No, more old people, it doesn't matter. And rich people didn't care, right? Like apparently the way not to get COVID is not a mask, it's being inside a BMW. Like if you just wear enough vineyard vines, you'll never need a respirator. And I think the thing that COVID exposed a lot about our society, right? And I think it exposed two lies that I've been told my whole life, which is this. Since I was a little kid, I've been told by the American system, work hard so you can buy the best house you can possibly afford, and nothing's more important than taking care of your family, okay? 2 weeks into being in our homes with our families, and we couldn't take it anymore. And the thing that I work with a lot of people that are still super COVID cautious, right? And I would fault them, that's your choice. I don't know what you got going on internally, but they're terrified to die from COVID. And I look at these people and I'm like, if I was you, I would be more terrified to not die of COVID and live another 40 years of your trash life. I've also made a lot of mistakes in life, so I drive to work very early in the morning through very bad neighborhoods, okay? And there are people out waiting for buses to presumably go to their jobs at 4:30, 4:45, 5 a.m., masked up, in the hood, cannot see another human being. To my knowledge, I'm not how you get COVID, but I'm not judging you. What I am going to say to those people are, if you're riding public transportation hours before the sun came up, how long do you really want to live? Because I'm driving by you in a car, and I think about wrapping up sometimes. What keeps you going day to day on the bus with a mask on? And I go to what, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, as I stated earlier, but I do believe there's a segment of our population that doesn't want COVID to end. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not what you think. I don't think it's the vaccine manufacturers, the companies that make the rubber gloves and the surgical masks. I don't think it's them. No one want COVID to go away in America? Losers. Think about this for a second. Up to 2019, if you didn't have a significant other, didn't leave your house, didn't go to movies, didn't go to concerts, didn't party in bars, didn't go to nightclubs, didn't do anything fun, you were a loser, right? For the last 2 years, you got to be a hero. And now, you have to go back to being a loser. And that's real hard for a lot of people. I think one thing we clearly tell what class someone is by what car they drive, right? Somebody just drives a bucket, they're probably not super financially doing well for themselves, right? Somebody in a super nice car probably doing a little bit better, and everyone's kind of in the middle somewhere, right? And I think you really see the difference in how people buy cars based on their class, right? Anybody ever went to buy a car with a poor person? One time, I was friends with a kid who sold drugs. We Valley Park cars together, and you go home with like hundreds of dollars at the end of the night from drug sales or parking cars. One night after I shake goes, I have to go buy a new car right now. Do you want to come? Like, more than anything you can possibly imagine. I wanted to do this my whole life. Let's go. He rolls up to a used car lot, There's an older Mercedes that says $7,500. He tosses the salesman a leather backpack with $8,000 in it and says, keep the change, and we drive away. No paperwork, no insurance, no license. It was amazing, right? Go buy a car with a rich person. So much fun. They don't even look at it. Get the leather seats, get the heated seats, heat the steering wheel, get the umbrella in the door, get everything. It doesn't matter. Tint the windows, I'll take the tickets, it doesn't matter. I'm wealthy, I run the world, no one can stop me. You ever seen middle class people buy a car? Like, have you ever seen two college educated people argue tooth and nail whether they should get a compact or a subcompact car? That is depressing. And the other place you see it right away is how people put their kids in the car. Okay? Rich kids, they don't put up a fight. They want to get in the bed. They understand it's cool. They get it, right? And poor people love being in the car. You ever pull up at like a mall entrance behind like an 87 Toyota Tercel? The guy driving gets out. He's not dressed great. His wife gets out. She's seen better days. Then they open the back door. A 12-year-old gets out, a 17-year-old gets out, the 17-year-old opens the trunk, gets out of a wheelchair, they open an 85-year-old woman out of the car into the wheelchair, 3 little kids crawl out, nobody in a car seat. It's like a clown car of underserved populations, and they're all happy. They're happy to be out of the car. They're loving it. You ever watch some poor middle-class guy cut up with a 3-year-old in a Pontiac? It's literally, it looks like a crocodile hunter fighting a crocodile on a day it didn't go well. Little kid ain't getting in that car for the father. Come on. And I think one thing that relates to this is as middle-class people, we believe we can be better, right? We believe all the cliches. Work hard, vote, pay your taxes, you'll get ahead. Spoiler alert, maybe, at best that'll work out for you, right? But the cliche that I heard recently that really got me upset, I heard it's an Asian proverb that any man that wakes up before sunrise 360 days a year cannot fail to make his family wealthy. I can name 100 careers off the top of my head that require you to do that and will not make you wealthy. Firefighter, police officer, teacher, there's 100. It's easy, right? And what I figured out, when I figured out it was nonsense was, when I'm driving to work, there are no nice cars on the road between 4 and 6 a.m. They're not, because people do not, rich people don't leave their house before 6 a.m. They just don't do it. When I'm driving to work at between 4 and 6 a.m., because I make poor choices, I just think to myself, I guess waking up early and working hard wasn't the key to success like I've been told. And then I started thinking about all the things I can't afford. And then it makes you want to Hyundai. Also, like, I think there's a weird disconnect with middle-class people and how they feel about their parents. Right? Just rock me on this for a second. Rich kids don't like their parents, right? They miss their lacrosse games because they're closing deals and doing burgers. They have a weird, like, underlying hostility towards mom and dad because they didn't buy them the right car when they graduated high school. But they get it. They understand being part of their family and their last name is their ticket to the good part of society. They get it for the most part, right? Poor people love their parents, even no matter how bad they are. For example of this, let's look at some 90s hip-hop, okay? On Dear Mama, Tupac said, even though you were crack-feeding mama, your ways were a black-feeding mama, okay? Middle-class parents don't drink that much when they do go out because they have to wake up and take care of their kids, and they know that kid is not taking their foot off the gas if you're hungover, right? Parents don't hate the kids hate the parents for no reason. Or when Ghostface Killer said, all I got is you, Mama was plucking roaches out of the cereal box. I know middle-class parents that work overtime to buy gluten-free cereal that's 3 times the price and have to buy non-dairy milk because they're weak in eggs and ate the kid lactose intolerant. And those kids hate their parent. It just doesn't work. The thing is, I think middle-class kids look at their parents like, oh, let me get this straight, Mom. You're not going to give me a trust fund, but you're going to give me a curfew? Get the hell out of here. So I'm going to go home by 11, just wait up longer. I'll come home when I'm good and ready. Other thing, how many guys are addicted to your phones? Yeah. But I don't think you should be embarrassed about it. It's great. It's the most amazing piece of technology we've ever developed as humankind. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Literally everything you've ever thought about, learning, doing, watching, reading, is in something the size of a deck of cards that's in your body. It's amazing. I want to start using my phone more than I already do. But I do think overuse is a middle class problem, right? If you're in the hood, you're in a trailer park, you're in Florida, you gotta keep your head on a swivel. You can't get lost up in an Instagram beef. There's literally knocked down under the hospital, right? That doesn't happen in those areas. You just can't do it, right? And if you're wealthy, not rich but wealthy, what's going on your phone that's better than your real life? Like if you're on a yacht with models and a DJ doing a live set right next to you, you probably turn your notifications off to be okay, right? But walk into an Applebee's on like a Friday night and watch some poor guy that just worked an 80-hour week, did overtime, his kids are screaming at him, they hate him and don't even know why. His wife just ordered a blooming onion and he's already doing the math. If she gets his appetizer, he can't eat lunch tomorrow. That guy deserves to have his phone out. He needs a break from reality. When I see those families, I look at the father and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Pull your phone out, man. Come on. You deserve it. Okay. How many Star Wars fans are here?
Yo.
Star Wars fans? I don't like it. And I don't think Star Wars fans even like Star Wars themselves. Let's go through the history of Star Wars. I want you guys to tell me when I get something wrong. 40 years ago, the first movie comes out, and it's solid. It's not great, but it sets up the rest of the franchise, right? Second movie comes out, and it's a masterpiece. It's the greatest movie we've all ever seen. It's bulletproof. You can't argue Empire Strikes Back. Third movie comes out, and it's pretty good until the Ewoks show up, and then it's trash again. Okay? Then there's 15 years of no Star Wars content whatsoever. Then they drop the prequels. Universally hated by Star Wars fans. Okay? Another 15 years or nothing, and then the new ones come out, and if you like the first one, you hate the second one. If you like the second one, you hate the first one, and everybody hates the third one. So in 40 years, there have been 1.5 good Star Wars movies. In the same 40 years, there have been 2 great Weekend at Bernie's movies. And I have an odd relationship with Star Wars because I liked it when I was a little kid, then I got like way out of it, and then I tried to get back into it, but I tried to get back into it in a very weird set of circumstances. So about 10 years ago, on a Friday, I just got really sick. I got like a flu. It was way before COVID was a thing. I just got super sick on a Friday. And I wanted to go to the doctor, but I thought if I went to the doctor, he would send me to the hospital, right? And I didn't want to be hospitalized because on Saturday morning, a pair of Air Jordans were coming out, and I had to get them. Now you would think as a grown man, I would look back and regret that decision. Not at all. I didn't die from being sick. I enjoy those sneakers to this day. 100% right decision, right? So I get out of work on Friday, I go to urgent care. Who has been to urgent care in this room? I don't know where we stand as a group on universal health care, but I think we can all agree. You should not be able to drive through a strip mall and have a medical professional, possibly not a doctor, that knows nothing about your medical history, prescribe the craziest medication on earth. Is that fair to say? So I go to the guy, I tell him what's going on, I can't breathe, I'm fever, all this other stuff. Okay, you absolutely need a chest x-ray to see what's happening internally. I'm like, okay. Goes out of the room, comes back 3 minutes later, and the guy goes, your insurance will not cover the chest x-ray. Well, I thought I absolutely needed it, but what do we do now? So he goes, I'm going to write you a prescription, take it, if you don't feel better by Monday, come back and see what we can do for you. And that prescription was codeine. Who's ever messed with codeine before? What I will say is, it's not as much fun as rappers make it sound. Because I saw the prescription, like, okay, this is going to be great. I put it in a styrofoam cup, I'll mix it with Sprite, I'll write the rhymes, it'll be tremendous. So I do it, but I'm not a drug guy at all. I keep it real, I'm just not. It doesn't work for me. So I read the prescription 3 tablespoons. I take 3 tablespoons of codeine, and within 20 minutes, I'm out of my mind. I don't know where I am, I'm having hallucinations, I'm sweating profusely, and I'm like, oh, this isn't what Lil Wayne told me it would be like. And so I think the only thing, if I go to sleep, I might not wake up, right? So the only logical thing, like I watched Star Wars since I was a little kid, let's try that, that'll keep me awake. So I watched all of the Star Wars movies from the beginning to the end in succession. And even under those circumstances, whacked on scissor. Star Wars was just okay. And luckily I made it out of that sickness and I was fine. But it did start me thinking about mortality, right? Like what happens if you get a sickness that's not a good prognosis, not something you can beat in a couple of days, and what if it's going to the end? And that gets scary, right? You're older, it gets scarier. And I decided that if I ever get a really bad diagnosis, I'm not going to do the normal thing, which as you all know, is post a very sad picture on a GoFundMe account and beg your friends for money. I am going to take matters in my own hands. I'm going to go to the bank, I'm going to sign everything over to my daughter's name except for $500. Take my last $500, I'm going to go to the mall. I'm going to walk in a Foot Locker and buy the hottest sneakers they have on the shelf, and then a wild savage I'm going to wear it out of the store. I'm going to go to the food court. I'm going to give the guy working at the Panda Express all the money I have left in the world, and I'm going to tell him, I'm going to sit at that table. I want you to bring me an order of General Tso's chicken every 10 minutes. Until I start to look sick. Then you bring me an order of General Tso's chicken every 15 minutes. And I'm going to sit in that mall food court and eat General Tso's chicken until I flat out explode. And then when mall security comes and drags my bloated, disgusting, fried chicken-full corpse past the Hot Topic and past the Spencer's and past the Annie Ann's Pretzel Factory, my friends are going to say, I can't believe he died shopping for sneakers, eating fast casual Chinese food in a food court. But my best friends are going to say, at least he died doing what he loved. You guys feel like it's universally accepted this is the worst generation ever? Everybody, like the older people hate the millennials, the millennials hate the Gen Zs, don't understand each other, everything's going downhill, right? And people want to point the finger at different things with this generational decline, right? You say rap music, social media, video games, all of it probably plays a part. You know what I think destroyed this generation of young men? The Office. The TV show The Office. Let me explain to you how Jim Halpert destroyed a generation of young Americans. Office is the biggest show on TV for a decade. And the underlying theme of The Office is Jim is the cool, good-looking guy you want to be like. Dwight is the buffoon you laugh at. Now let's break this down for a second. Jim Halpert is terrible at selling paper. He's barely hanging on. He does not commit to being good at his job and making more money at any chance during the series that he has to do it. He is somehow a good-looking, cool guy that is crippled with fear at the prospect of approaching the secretary and asking for a date. And that's your hero. Dwight Schrute is a boss. He's great at selling paper. He eventually takes over the entire branch by the end of the series, right? He has a side hustle as a family business running a beet farm. You know what a beet farm is? Recession-proof. You don't get laid off from your family beet farm, right? Over the course of the series, he sleeps with every woman he wants to sleep with. He's the man. He's amazing. But we train all these little kids to look up to Jim and laugh at Dwight. And that's why we are where we are now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the way things are marketed, right? How commercials work, how suggestion works in our minds, why we like Dwight, but didn't like Dwight, but like Jim. But I'm so confused at advertising. When I was a kid, there was a TV show, there was a commercial, there was a clear line with one stop and one start, right? Now, in the era of product placement and paid social media, it's hard to tell when you're being advertised to. But my favorite kind of advertising that I think has been thriving for decades, not going anywhere soon, is putting a possibly homeless person on a highway with a sign for your business telling people they can shop at that business. The other day, I was driving down Route 36, and I saw a guy wearing at least 6 coats sitting on an overturned Aldi shopping cart with a sign pointing to Ashley Furniture on their couch sale. And I was like, I don't need a couch, but if that guy got one on sale, let me pull over and see what they have. And I think Ashley Furniture is so good at selling their furniture, it is time for them to diversify and open up different kinds of Ashley Furniture stores. You guys think that's a good idea?
Woo!
Like, I think there should be Ashley Graham Furniture, where all the furniture looks great, it's just a little too big. I think there should be Ashley Madison Furniture, where the furniture in your house right now is perfectly fine, but you go online and find other furniture that will ruin your entire life. And I think there should be Rick Ashley Furniture. You have a couch that clearly needs to be replaced, but you just look at it and say to yourself, I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to run around and hurt you. We're Rickrolling people in the 2020s. I think I brought up Ashley Graham before. Obviously, she's killing it. Last couple of years, big girls have been crushing the game, right? Plus size models got millions of followers, cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, and I think it's a good thing. I think what we've done to women and your body image, and by pushing the wrong body types to people for too long, we've created way too many problems with young women. We all agree on that, right? Yeah. But I think for as good as plus size women have had it for the last couple of years, you know what's going to pop off next? Little dudes. I'm about to be hot. I can feel it coming. I can feel the cultural zeitgeist swinging my way. And I think it's fair. I really think it's fair. Like, ladies, you are not less of a woman if you don't have a thigh gap. But I am not less of a man if I do. And like, women, you should not feel worse about yourself because you're not a size 6. Just like I shouldn't feel worse about myself if I sometimes shop in a boys 14 to 16 department. I'm gonna get real with everybody here. If you see me do stand up more than 5 times, you see me wearing children's clothes. And I think as I said before, like, my life's worked out pretty good. I get to do comedy, I have a family, everything's going great. But you always look back and think about, like, what if I took this path? What if I went right instead of left at this point? What if I did something different? And the only real regret I have at this point in my life is if I could just go back and do everything over. The day after I graduated high school, I would have got my realtor's license and started taking steroids. And I would have lived my life as a realtor on steroids. And I would cover New Jersey with giant billboards of myself with sayings like, when I wake up in the morning, I have 2 goals. Get jacked and put you in the home of your dreams. Or another billboard might say, buying a home is the most important financial decision of your life. Are you going to put that decision in the hands of someone that can't handle 80-pound dumbbells with some reps? And then my last billboard would say, whether we're talking about this, my commission on the sale of your home or my body fat, I'm all about 6%. How many people here are born and bred at the Jersey Shore? Yeah. Growing up, 80s, 90s Jersey Shore, there was a guy that wrote restaurant reviews for the Asbury Park Press. His name was Angelo. He was like the Anthony Bourdain of the Jersey Shore, and he would sign a number of pretzels to how good your restaurant was. Like 4 pretzels, you're staying in business forever. 2 pretzels, probably out of business by the end of the year. Like, it mattered. This guy's reviews mattered, okay? Unfortunately, he passed away a couple years ago. What I want to share with you guys next, as a tribute to the great restaurant reviewer, Don Wilno, this is what I believe he would say had he lived long enough to review the John Bon Jovi rest stop on the Garden State Parkway. I recently had the chance to head up the Garden State Parkway and check out the newly renamed John Bon Jovi service area. This service area was formerly known as the Cheesequake Rest Stop until Governor Phil Murphy began changing the names of service areas to honor some of New Jersey's greatest achievers and ambassadors. This idea was relatively well received and one of the least polarizing of Murphy's policies. Well, while a lot of people have issues with Murphy's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, or is not always friendly to small business legislation, few on either side of the red and blue line would debate the merits of one of the greatest hair metal frontmen of all time, or whether he deserves to have a gas station / food court named in his honor. Needless to say, the renaming of the service area has bipartisan support and is considerably less polarizing than John Bon Jovi's insistence on calling himself a cowboy, despite spending all of his life in Sayreville, New Jersey, roughly 100 years after cowboys were actually a thing. Let's be honest, if we're talking rest stops, we're talking location. And the John Bon Jovi service area is located exactly where you need it in the same way Slippery and Wet came out exactly when you needed it. It's easy to reach whether you're heading north to the Prudential Center, which John Bon Jovi sold out 7 nights in a row in 2007 and christened the new arena as one of New Jersey's premier sports and entertainment venues. Or south to the Jersey Shore to visit the venues where the band started their legendary journey to the music industry, like the Stone Pony, the Brighton Bar, or to the Seaside Heights Boardwalk to see for yourself where they shot their Runaway video in the late 80s. The gas station is pretty solid, but offers nothing different than most other refueling options. It's hard to tell whether this should be attributed to the government regulations that have homogenized the automobile fuel line experience, or a nod to later albums from the band that were solid if unspectacular. Like Burning Bridges, How About Now, and Bounce. So, like most of JBJ's later catalog, the gas station not anything to write home about, but is still better than most other gas stations in the same way that an average Bon Jovi album is still superior to most other artists' best releases. Once I ventured inside the service area, the experience really separated itself from other similar rest stops in the same way that it took until the band's third album, Slippery When Wet, to really differentiate themselves from other hair metal bands of the era. The men's room was as modern and well appointed as Bon Jovi's early 2000s pop-influenced masterpiece, It's My Life, and was as immaculate as the audio engineering on the Have a Nice Day album. Apparently, John Bon Jovi has done for rest stop bathrooms in the 2020s exactly what he did for heavy metal in the 80s. He took something that could be intimidating and scary and made it inviting and family friendly. Way to go, JBJ. Once leaving the men's room, I made my way to the food court and immediately realized it's simply one of the best in the business. This might not be obvious to the untrained eye, but I travel a lot and I eat a lot of food courts, and I was immediately impressed. In much the same way that if you're not a musician, it's easy to miss the brilliance of Bon Jovi band members Richie Sambora and Tico Torres. But if you know, you know. The seating area is simple but elegant, like the songs that early releases like the band's self-titled debut or 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit. The condiments and straws are in ample supply, like the keyboard talents of bandmate David Bryan, and fortunately my napkins did not run out too early like former band members Dave Sabo or Alec Von Such. The selection of the food court is second to none, with a wider array of food options than musical styles displayed on even the most expansive Bon Jovi albums like Keep the Faith and Lost Highway. The Andy Ann's pretzel will satisfy your need for sweet and salty snacks the way It's My Life satisfied your need for adolescent rebellion. The pizza at Sporo will make you feel like you can conquer the world, like blaring Living on a Prayer in your IROC Z while driving down Route 35 on Memorial Day weekend. And the Starbucks will add a jolt to your ride home, like an unexpected sing-along to You Give Love a Bad Name with a group of close friends. Also, most of the employees were very attentive and helpful, except for the young man that was training for a job at the subway location that was less prepared to take my order than Bon Jovi was to deal with the change in rock aesthetics that accompanied the grunge era in the early 90s. Luckily, the young man's manager came to his assistance, and a foot-long size crisis was averted. It's quite a review for a restaurant. Most of the restaurants were busy, but not overwhelmed. The only exception was Charlie's Cheesesteaks that was both both that was pretty desolate. This reminded me that John Bon Jovi owned the Philadelphia Soul and now defunct Arena Football League. Apparently, people have the same desire for mass-produced fast food cheesesteaks as they do for watching grown men play football on a 50-yard field in a basketball arena, which is to say, almost no desire whatsoever. Also, to clear up any controversy about the cheesesteak establishment in Lock Harbor that was recently exposed for offering $10,000 per pretzel on the review last month, I want to make this abundantly clear to my readers. My name is Don Will No, and there is Don Will no way I can be bribed. I cannot be bought, and neither can these pretzels. Much like John Bon Jovi's 2016 album, this house is not for sale. In closing, sure, gas is expensive, and most restaurant fare is usually overpriced. But much like paying over $20 for each Bon Jovi compact disc released in the 90s and 2000s, this is money well spent. Personally, I'm not sure if John Bon Jovi is New Jersey's greatest musician, but I can be absolutely certain that he has the best service area of any of the dozens of talented artists that take their talents from the Garden State to the national or international stage. Final rating, 3.5 pretzels. Who's still having fun? Thank everybody for coming out one more time. And the name of the special is Stuck in the Middle, right? And I named it that because I'm in a weird spot in my life, right? I'm kind of in the middle, age-wise, and look at the typical lifespan of people. And I have two lives going on at once. I'm stuck in the middle. I have a job and a family, and I love that side of my life. But I really love this comedy thing, the arts and music, and what we can do with the Jersey Shore, and I really love both, right? So, I've been called a lot the father of the Jersey Shore comedy scene. I'm not the best, I haven't done the most shows, I was doing a little before most other people, and I've established kind of name for myself for the last 10 years, and it puts me in a weird spot, because a lot of young comics ask me for advice. And I'm always very open, I'll help you out any way I can, but at this point, I still have more questions than answers myself. Right? But here's what I know for sure. My sister died at 22. My mother died at 55. And my father got diagnosed with cancer the same month he retired from a career that demanded he work like a lunatic for over 40 years. And somehow, I get to be here. In this world of comedy and music and poetry and podcasts and books, and I have no idea why I get to do it and they didn't, but I'm thankful every day. And I go out and support as many other people as I can. When you guys see me at events, people always come up and say, "How you doing?" And I say, "I'm just happy to be here." And then they laugh. What they don't understand is, with my family history, I'm happy to be anyone. So what I know for sure at this point in life is, whatever you want to do it now. Go to the open mic. Start the podcast. Apply for the job. Or tell your boss to drive his Range Rover off a cliff because you're starting your own company. Run the race. Swing for the fences. Because nobody remembers bunts and base hits. Your Little League coaches lie to you. If you got beef with somebody, call them and apologize. Or tell them when they see you in the streets when you get these hands. Not everybody deserves forgiveness. Jump in the deep end and stay there until you learn how to swim. Enter the roast battle and verbally eviscerate whoever's on the other side of that stage. Attack every aspect of their character so they can no longer book shows in the area. This is your dream. How they do it, nothing to do with it. Make the call. Write the email, send the DM, but not in a creepy way. Shoot your shot with somebody that's out of your league, and she might turn around and laugh in your face. But she might give you a ride home because you missed the last train back to Jersey. And that one singular decision sets off a chain of events that result in a better adult life than anything the teenage version of you could have ever imagined. Define success for yourself and chase it like your life depended on it. Don't wait till the time is right. Don't wait till you're ready. Do it now. If you do it now, you'll have chest-beating, life-affirming victories that will make you feel like you can conquer the world. But if we're going to keep it real, You're gonna have soul-crushing defeats that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the world and yourself. But at least you won't be stuck in the middle.
Angelo Gingerelli is like a cross between a high school gym teacher, a Peruvian boxer, and DMX.
I feel like the New Jersey comedy scene is nothing but leftover drama kids and retired battle rappers.
Listen, I like Angelo. He's a good guy. He's out of his goddamn mind.
Angelo Gingerelli, shout out, father of Long Branch Comedy. Shout out to him.
He's not, though. He's not. And I hate
Possibly
you
the
that you
best.
started it, but he's not. Hey, man, he's a real MVP just for dressing up like Johnny Corporal at that one show.
Couldn't say enough good things about this dude.
He has like a wife and family that he loves him and doesn't need to be here, but he chooses to
He
be
doesn't
here.
need this. Does not need it. He lives a happy life.
Growing up for you, like, when your family was in comedy. I was told to stop being a clown by my parents so many times. Once you realize like how much work Angelo has put into the scene in the past decade is insane.